I'm Victoria.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm Molly.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Laura. We're Team Alpha.
I got to tell you, for this group, I vacillated. I actually have two different cases that I printed up for you, and one that was brand new, but I up to this moment, couldn't decide which of the special ones I was going to give
Second
you.
choice.
Which one was going to mess with you the most? So, I think I'm giving you this one.
Run.
Are you for sure?
Yeah, I think it's 109.
Okay. Huh?
Is that your first choice?
No, this is actually oh my God.
This is the new one.
This is one of my favorites. Okay, so we're getting ready to start. Everybody bring the noise down. This is one of my absolutely favorites, and I'm still looking for an answer to this one. So this is why.
Oh, no.
Why would you do this to us?
Did the time start?
This is a true case.
Yep. Go.
No.
Still don't know how I feel about this one. This is a local case.
She freaked out.
So let me know.
Okay. Opinions?
I don't think he did anything wrong. Like if they can wear shirts expressing how they feel and so on, that's, I don't know.
You don't think student went wrong?
I feel like, I mean, if he wants to wear the shirt, okay, but I think somebody should say, like, talk to him about, like, expressing himself better, you know, because, like, yes, it's his opinion, but I don't know if the reason he was portraying this opinion was quite the right way of, like, displaying his opinion,
So he went.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, to express himself without offending others in such a obvious way, kind of.
I mean,
But what if, like, the other shirts are like offending him? You know
and
what I'm saying?
that's the thing.
They're not shirts.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're
Yeah.
buttons and shirts. So.
Yeah.
This is a tricky situation. It's not really, Somerset's impeding on his, I mean, completely the same other person, of course, but.
Mackenzie, I'll need you to speak up
Oh, sorry.
and remember what you're competing against.
Okay. But, he's not really impeding on his First Amendment rights since in a school, which, it's a high school? I don't know if it's the same as most schools, but it's difficult because you have to be protecting the feelings and rights of your other students as well as journalism, but, where do I go with this? I lost my train of thought now.
What do y'all think? I feel like they should have expected that to happen, if they were just gonna set aside one day for one particular club, like maybe they could have done that day for all of the clubs to express something instead of like one particular, and especially something that's so like, it causes so many opinions, like something like that, obviously someone's gonna have something else to say about that, so.
Or if they should just not do that day at all. It's gonna cause so much drama, just cut it completely out.
Or do it after school, after, have the specific group do it after school. That way you're not offending anybody else.
But then at the same time, you could argue that it's still infringing on their first right.
Yeah.
First
You don't want to, like,
Amendment
push them down, because that's just going to make them want to, like, fight
rights.
even
That's the
more.
whole reason, that's like the basis of their group, like, just, to put a stop to such a session.
So I guess the real question here is, was him getting expelled the right thing? And I think no.
I don't think it would do this, he just got suspended for the day.
Suspended
Yeah.
for the day.
He got suspended for the day and he couldn't wear the shirt again, but the thing is, some people in the community are asking the principal to like publicly apologize, and if he doesn't, then they're gonna take legal action, and I think that's like a real issue right here.
So we need to,
I mean, he was given a choice, though, to take it off. I know they didn't choose us to in the first place, they did have a choice.
Shouldn't have had to make a choice, but everybody else is wearing what they believe.
I think he has a right to wear the shirt.
You can't let one person do it and not the other.
I think where I was going the first time is that, like, you know how in high school, middle school, we weren't allowed to wear, like, flag-rising t-shirts or anything like that, anything that could be perceived as hateful, and I think it's just going with it, that it is kind of a shirt, though. Personally, I've been offended by that shirt, like, that homosexuality is a sin, and I'm not even gay, but I'm offended by it. And I think he could have had a more positive message, could have done something different.
Yeah, and I feel like what he was, like, what his beliefs are right, but I feel like he portrayed it in the wrong way, and I feel like that should have been their discussion with him instead of saying, take off the shirt, what you believe is wrong. I feel like that's how their actions were portrayed to him, when it probably should have been more like, you need to portray your beliefs in a more, like, respectable way, if that makes
And
sense.
on the outside looking at this, it does look like he was just told, like, you can't wear this, like, what you believe is wrong. But it seems like, but it's there's a lot more to the story.
So I think Principal Porter needs to address the fact that he handled it in the wrong way. You know, that he just spoke, you know, he didn't think it through. And then, you know, say, I should have handled it in a better way to taken the time to talk to him, the student, and tell him where I was coming from. But I don't know where to go from that.
Like telling the student that the reason why he had to stand by the zero tolerance policy.
Right.
And could have expressed himself more positively. Right. I think that's good.
I still don't feel like the principal should have to apologize though, because their policy obviously outlines that anything that can be interpreted as hate, all the students know what's going to happen.
I feel like his shirt wasn't quite so much hate as stating his beliefs. And while it was a very strong statement and probably needed to be like said, well, you might want to dial this down a little bit or find another way to express yourself. I don't feel like it was hate.
But even if
I
it's
mean,
not hate, it's like,
It's a belief and it's what he thinks.
So you have to think like, could they even take legal action on that? Like, is there anything they could even,
The First Amendment,
so they could?
freedom of speech, I mean,
So then the principal's gonna have to, they're gonna have to think, is it worth it to get in trouble, or should we just apologize and
that's
it'd
right.
be over with?
I agree with what Laura's saying that I don't really think you should have to, but because this could be a huge mess and then they could lose all of their sponsors, it could be
we don't want just to
a
cover
lot of
up.
backlash, yeah.
And then not to mention, like, you know, the years past, all the discrimination too. I mean, what's to say that's not the same as, you know, wearing an offensive shirt? You know, just calling somebody a derogatory name, or, you know, the different things that they did with hanging the Barbie. I mean, it's the same kind of concept, just in a different way. So if we address those then, why can't we address the same kind of situation? But in a way that make it all, you see he needs to say he sees both sides of the issue, and that, you know, further investigation or, you know, other acts maybe, instead of allowing the students to wear buttons and t-shirts. I know in my high school they did a day of silence where they didn't wear something, they just, you know, they didn't talk for the whole day. And that it could be less offensive than wearing something that shows it. Not to say that they should hide that, because, you know, that's who they are, but it could be handled in a way that it doesn't come out right and offend everybody.
Okay, so far we have the principal addresses that he handled it incorrectly. We should have been like, not so brash about it. But then also acknowledge both sides of the issue and where we go from there.
And then the last line says something about do we want to keep that policy or abolish it. That's also an issue.
Zero tolerance policy.
I think they keep the zero tolerance.
I think they need to keep it, but it looks like it's not very clear, so maybe we need to like come back and revise it and update it.
Yeah, update it and then set actual, you know, situations and stuff like that, so they have something to go by when something comes up. Boundaries, yeah.
Okay.
So we do want the principal to apologize or just make a statement about like staying why he felt he needs to stand by his zero tolerance policy?
It's a little bit of both, but just apologizing that he acted so rash, yeah, and that he,
I
what
feel
is
like it needs,
impulse.
like to have the initial apology about this specific situation and say address this, tell everybody we're going back to revise the zero tolerance policy, and then say he's going to update those, announce those updates as they come, kind of thing.
It's 98, that area is 98% Christian Baptist. And so you have to think I think he should acknowledge both sides, but if he does, it's going to make a lot of people really mad. And
To take the side of,
yeah.
to take whose side of it?
I think if he even if he apologizes, that'll be good, but if he even acknowledges that the other side of the issue is correct, I think that it's going to make a lot of people mad.
Well, he doesn't have to necessarily say one side's correct.
No,
and
I know.
the other.
I just think
Yeah.
if he even acknowledges both sides, people are gonna be like, well, then it's not a sincere apology because you're still.
Well, you can be sincere about something and understanding both sides of it. Like, he could just say that he's looking at things objectively and not letting his personal feelings about the matter in his situation and just influence his decision. Like, my only thing is that if he apologizes for the whole situation, saying I was wrong, I feel like that the students of the LGBT club are gonna feel like they're, that the principal's not so much on their side and he's not supporting them.
Well, it's not necessarily that
My
he
own
doesn't,
thing is being perceived that way.
He needs to let everybody know that he says it's okay to have your own opinions as long as you don't state them in a way that harms
Yeah.
people and don't do anything to harm people. I think that's the zero tolerance policy. I think that's, you can have your opinions, but if you hurt somebody and cause trauma or emotional or physical damage, that's crossing the line.
And it has to be consequences.
Yeah, and I feel like he needs to address that.
And definitely, I think we should point out that he did have a choice. So it doesn't seem like just to point out that the kid did have a choice, that you didn't suspend him based on just wearing the shirt.
I mean, he should.
Because a lot of times the story gets misconstrued and like facts like that are
Yeah,
left out.
he didn't say you're suspended. He gave him an option to take off his shirt. But, I mean, at this time, I feel like the kid did have a right to wear the shirt. So, I feel like saying you're suspended is going too far. He
I don't
should
know, I just think that,
10 minutes.
I think that he had just as much of a right to wear that shirt as the other kids did. And so, I think they should just, like, whatever that day was, they just need to get rid of it completely.
I mean, they can still.
And like put it in like video ads and like
Yeah.
alternate
Yeah.
ways.
That's,
We want everyone to feel like they have the right to express themselves.
If they have the right to wear their t-shirts, he's the right to wear his t-shirts. So. we need to-
I mean, what's gonna stop him from wearing the shirt on the day of silence though? I mean, because he chose that day specifically.
well, then it goes back to saying that, you
If
know.
they can't wear their shirts, he can't wear his shirt.
Yeah, or you can't wear anything that's going to hurt others emotionally, physically.
so if they're being
anything like
silent,
that.
then he.
I mean, it's not hurting them. It's not
Okay.
hurting them at all. It's just, they're just not talking to them, kind of thing. But I think if they wore the short, that, or the shirt, that would be offensive.
Like, if, say,
I mean,
she wore the shirt and I wore the other shirt, and then he said, I can't wear my shirt, but she can wear her shirt, I mean, I would get
feel like he was just
offended.
standing up to the whole situation in general, and that's what I was getting like. If he wanted some right to do it too.
Yeah.
As the, like just because they had a day, not so much that it's about the shirt.
Okay, so we have principal address how we handled it incorrectly, acknowledge both sides of the issue, keep the zero tolerance, whatever, update it and specify the situations, and propose like the day of silence instead of the shirts.
Should they cut out the shirts completely on the day of silence?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's good.
it
Then we'll
doesn't
know where to
offend
send it.
anybody, yeah.
Should they have like gather the teachers from the high school and like update them on it?
Yeah.
See if they
Have
are
a
familiar with
meeting,
zero
so
tolerance.
conference with teachers.
So maybe you could do something with like each grade level, you know, how they did that in high school, we'd have,
Meetings,
Yeah.
class meetings.
yeah, like the freshmen and the seniors and juniors and sophomores, and that way you can see you hear what everybody else is hearing, but it's easier to address a small group rather than everybody at once, because people are talking about
So
attention.
class meetings, equals.
Yeah, and then just let them know that, you know, zero tolerance policy is gonna be in effect, and maybe you can hand them all out, you know, a list of the zero tolerance policies.
Put it on there for sure.
Yeah,
Like
so
a-
there's no confusion, and have them maybe sign it, and they, you know, I don't know if you go that far.
Have an easy to read version.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know if I got handed a front back page paper, I was not gonna read that.
Yeah, we should make it like concise and then make them sign it, so that way if they do get in trouble, we can be like, well, you signed it and you agreed to
Yeah,
it.
exactly, like the dress code that they do. Yeah.
I feel like we need to bring, I hate to say this because everybody else said this, but like maybe talk to some legal help just to see where the law stands too. That way we're not just coming up with our own rules and people outside the school are like, well, that's against the law. You know, we need to kind of have a solid legal basis for what we're saying.
I think definitely, especially because this is a First Amendment.
That'll be a legal drawn document.
Should we, should we do anything with the parent-teacher association or, since they were the one pushing the CTV in the first place? Yes, CTV. But you know, they were pushing for, they're
pressure that student body and the local parent teacher, the student association to adopt the zero tolerance policy. So if you do anything,
I mean, I feel like keeping it,
just inform them of.
I feel like they should be involved, like the PTO should, like maybe at one of the PTO meetings, get their opinions and how to update the CTP.
Yeah, you just, present it to them, and then you can ask for a motion or something, you know, saying they back it up, and do it like that, and then it'll be in the note, or the minutes and stuff, so they can see, okay, we did vote for that, and there's no confusion of, well, I didn't know that that was gonna be
Wait,
involved.
so before we like address the teachers and the students, we meet with the
PTO.
Either PTO and school board.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we should have everybody involved, because so much gets missed, like, between students and parents, and,
Should we have small group meetings with the students to see what their opinions are? Because this is a high school, so.
But you can
I mean,
always do
it's-
counseling, they can come and talk to you, if they have concerns about it too.
It involves the students, but at the same time, it's like the authorities gonna have to make a decision, they're gonna have to deal with it.
we know it's a blood pressure, we're just gonna like cover all the bases, like,
Yeah.
have everybody involved in understanding of.
Because I know going to a school where you have no say in like what's going on at the school can be such a drag. Like you kind of want to be involved.
But I feel like this is one of those things where they shouldn't have to say.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just the rules, it's just, I don't know.
There's more diversity than I would say, let the students have an opinion, but because it's 95% white and 98% Christian Baptist,
Yeah.
then it's gonna be biased towards their opinions. 'Cause there's just like-
And they can always go talk to like student council,
About
and then,
5
you know, student
minutes.
council committees can come and talk to.
Did we say anything about counseling?
have counseling available.
they can just have their-
And we can talk with like a local church, like Christian counseling available for those students who would choose to go that way too.
I should have counseling available for students with,
Kind of questions and concerns about the, CTP.
yeah. So what do we have? Principal addresses from handling it correctly, acknowledge both sides of the issue, keep the ZTP.
So does he officially apologize?
It's not necessarily
I don't think
about-
you, yeah, I think you should just apologize for the way that you handled it, but not for the decision you made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and don't even like mention the conditions.
Yeah.
I or handle it.
And then, keep the zero tolerance and then update and specify it. Propose the day of silence and just completely cut out the t-shirts. Meet with the PTO and school board and then conference with teachers and then class meetings and hand out like the concise list of the rules and then they have to sign it. Talk to legal help and see what the consequences can be for that. And then have counseling available for students on questions and concerns.
And what are we gonna do about students who don't want to sign it? Who do not want to have anything to do with it?
Well, they have to, but that's their problem.
I know, but you're still gonna
I
have
mean,
students who say, I'm
I don't know if
not
we
gonna
should
sign
do
that
the
one.
whole sign thing, because like you guys said, this is our rules, so we're gonna enforce them, so maybe not so much sign, but say, since you go to school, you follow our rules, kind of thing, so that they can't come back and say, well, I didn't sign that paper.
Like in my high school, when we got agendas every year, they had, all the rules and regulations I didn't have written in the agenda.
You had to sign it, your parents had to sign it, and then you have to bring it in the homeroom, and then they check off where you signed it.
Yeah,
Your
Are we
parents signed
signing
it.
it or not signing it?
Oh, we don't have to, I just didn't, just in the agendas at the school.
Yeah.
Real quick, did we say anything about meeting with this particular student that it happened to?
No, and I was gonna say that, it's a good idea.
Like, what do you guys think about that?
I think that Principal Carter should personally apologize to Mark. I think that it would,
Let him know it's just not
Yeah.
him that's not
It-
wearing shirts anymore, it's everyone that does
Yeah.
not get to wear those shirts.
yeah, I think that it should be a one-on-one apology, because it's not gonna mean anything
And
if it's not,
explain to him that he has a right to have his beliefs, but not
to where it's
be
hurting others.
so aggressive about it.
Do we answer?
it says there's an equal number of people who want to abolish the CTP, so maybe we need to make sure we're clearly stating that we are revising it and we're gonna run it past the PTA.
You can have to have zero tolerance for this.
Because then everybody's just gonna be,
Protects everyone.
yeah.
Anybody else have any others? How much time do we have left?
30 seconds.
Are you done? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, the principal will address how he handled the situation incorrectly, but he'll still acknowledge both sides of the issue. And they're gonna keep the zero tolerance policy, but they're gonna update it and specify it. Propose day of silence and completely get rid of all the t-shirts and the buttons and stuff. Meet with the PTO and school board and talk about how they think that it should be updated. And then conference with the teachers about the policy, and then class meetings where they hand out the list of the rules and make sure everybody understands. Talk to legal help about the situation. Have counseling available for students with questions and concerns. And personally apologize to Mark for the situation.
I'm missing a couple. After day of silence, I'm missing one, talk to PTO
In the school board.
and school board,
Yeah.
and then, legal, I got that, I have that,
Did
talk.
you get the conference with the teachers?
What am I missing here? Let me
Counseling
quickly.
for students?
Revise the DPP, principal will address how he handled the situation incorrectly, get rid of t-shirts, day of silence, talk to legal, apologize to Mark, PTO, talk to his PTO, school board, conference with teachers.
Class meetings and hand out a list of rules, policy, the new policy.
Okay.
Did you get the counseling one?
Yeah, I just wrote it down.
Okay.
Okay, round of applause for our coach. Talk to them. What do you think?
I thought the way they discussed it was great, but I do have a question. What's wrong with the zero tolerance policy right now?
It said it wasn't clear and specific enough. He said it was just kind of broad and didn't really have a lot of like.
It's criticized for being vague and infringing on students' rights.
I kept thinking, what would y'all do if the ACLU decided to keep going after?
Well, that's what we were
Illegal.
told,
We're
legal.
gonna talk to legal about
Make sure we
that.
had all of our bases.
So what did you think, Spencer? You wanted them to do what?
I don't know, just, they didn't bring up the ACLU that I heard them, I wasn't sure. And like, because they want an official apology, and y'all talked about not having an apology, and then y'all updated. So. Another thing was, Mark is only 17, and y'all didn't talk about talking to his parents. Not that I heard.
Talk about what?
Talk to his parents. Like, just initially, instead of talking to him, you could maybe call his parents.
Other comments?
Even though there was a disagreement about some things, you'll handle it very well.
Yeah, I feel like out of all the groups, y'all were the one to communicate the best.
Team Alpha.
In what way?
I don't know, they were just like,
Everybody was equally involved.
yeah, everybody was equally involved and they genuinely like took into consideration what each other said. And it wasn't like, I mean, yeah, they had disagreements, but they handled it in a way where it was like, Laura and I completely talk over each other. But that they didn't have that issue at all. They were just really open to what each other had to say. And I thought they did.
Yeah, there really wasn't a whole, oh, sorry. That's what I was gonna say y'all didn't do too. There wasn't really that moment where, you know, she was talking and I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with what you're saying, so I'm gonna start talking anyways. There wasn't, y'all didn't have that. It was more of a, and like you could tell, like Elizabeth and Mackenzie, y'all's ideas, I think, I mean, just kind of what I interpreted out of it was y'all probably had very different views, like personal views on the situation anyways, but like y'all didn't run all over each other and you weren't all nasty up there or nothing. It was very legit and cut.
I think it helped that we went to Barbaritos last week and got to know each other more.
How did that, why do you argue that, Phil?
Well, because like we got to understand, like you told us to do that to get a feel for like how we react in conversations and just, I don't know.
But I wasn't there though, so.
And
I
you
mean, we
still
still,
did this
I mean,
well.
yeah, it still worked out fine. You know.
It's just us, we're so awesome.
I was just more comfortable with talking to them and like being able to say what I felt without offending anyone because I got to know them more.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how, if you don't develop some level of cohesion, and then I throw a case at you, and notice all the cases. I mean, you know, the cases are controversial, and they involve potentially stigmatizing, embarrassing, legally problematic information, and suddenly you're supposed to get up there and have conflict without having a sense of pattern and respect for one another. Does anybody disagree with how they handled it? Situation, or you would have handled it differently? Go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm kind of like you, actually. There's two things in there that kind of bother me. Whether or not the shirt that says homosexuality is a sin is considered hate speech is a question in my brain, because on the one hand, it's written in a very respectful way. It's not saying, you know, you're going to burn in hell. You know, I mean, genuinely speaking, it's written with a belief that's just stated out. But on the other hand, it's saying that this group of people are bad. Whereas he could have worn something that said Christian pride or something like that. It's saying it's marginalizing the group. So I'm a little bit, I don't know how I feel about that either.
And that's the underlying problem with this, is that one is saying you're bad, and the other is saying about pride. And so are those really comparable messages? One saying, I'm proud of who I am, versus
That's what I was
who you are is wrong.
I think it's not an okay, I mean, just me, that's my opinion, I don't think it was an okay shirt, but I mean, Zach's right, it could have said, you know, you're all going to hell, you're going to burn, blah, 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 you know, for eternity and all that good jazz, but I mean, it wasn't that, but that's what it says too, in the same exact sense, so it's like, you know, it's a sin.
See, my thing was like, I didn't like the shirt, but at the same time, I didn't think it was like wrong of him to wear it. Like if they could wear their shirts and like he wear his, but I would never wear a shirt like that, and I didn't agree with it.
Who's going into education? Yeah. Good luck on that. I mean, these are the questions that people are dealing with. Tanya, tell them where this case came from.
North Carolina.
Why does Tanya know everything?
Because she
Tanya,
lived in this building, I didn't realize. This was actually a relative of mine. Mark is a relative of mine who went to school and wore this T-shirt, and then that's exactly what happened. Spencer is dead on. You guys missed the fact that ACLU, I mean, you don't have time to do, and I felt like that was the one thing that you were missing, was this is time sensitive. And it says right there is that second the last paragraph is that people are breathing down your neck, saying, you're right, you're wrong, and you had ACLU representing Mark. Principal did end up apologizing. But this was, and I really wanted to hear more about the organizational culture, too, is that you're talking about a school that had a long history of violence and crime, and where gay students were being chased into bathrooms and harassed, and African Americans, and so you had a history. So that was what zero tolerance was supposed to be about, and then does that end up marginalizing a group of people? What kind of T-shirts did you ban?
Just, they're probably just club shirts.
Huh?
They're probably just club shirts or something.
What shirt?
Club shirts.
I don't think we
That
were.
say LGBT on it.
I don't know if we were outright banning like the club shirts, but more just like having that day and making it like how obvious it was. Like I don't know what we had exactly decided, but
Well, do you ban Black Pride T-shirts? Do you ban football
rebel flag
team
T-shirt.
That's like one of the
T-shirts?
things that they would have to talk about in updating the policy.
This is why I love this case, because I don't know to this day where I stand. I'm such a rabid free speech person. And I love the idea of students learning to talk and express opinions and class opinions, but where do you draw the line? What you can't wear, and can't you wear buttons, and what about tattoos? And what about jewelry? Do you now ban crosses?
My big thing is it's mostly the older people that are around here that are dictating all the hate stuff. Like they're spreading it down to the younger generations when it should be the younger generations getting rid of it, since we should be getting out of those days of racism and all that. It shouldn't be like that anymore. It's all equal now, and that's where
I
all
feel
this
like
should go away.
issues like this is why every high school, every elementary school, every middle school I just feel like all of them should have a dress code. A dress code of...
And that's what I was waiting. Marissa and Mackenzie, and notice how you started to kind of go that way, and then you just never...
Go which way?
You started talking about, remember Mackenzie,
Yeah,
you were
and then I
talking
was
about,
train
well,
of
in
thought.
high school, and you
I mean,
never kind of moved.
I know in my high school we had to wear either blue jeans or khakis and a collared shirt tucked in with a
Yeah, but
belt.
you were in a private, like, Christian
That's how our public schools were too. Our
That's
public
intense.
schools were the exact same way, and it doesn't give people the opportunity.
Yeah. I bless you. Whoever's going into high school and middle school, yeah, give me college anytime. Okay, thoughts on the project?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm confused with what Zachary was saying about the t-shirt thing. I just got kind of lost because I felt like we addressed it. Could you be a little more specific?
Well, it just struck me as what we were talking about. Like I'm also really big in First Amendment speech, but at the same time, if you're gonna, it's about defining hate speech, and it's something that you guys addressed when coming up with the zero tolerance. Defining the zero tolerance policy. But is hate speech saying anything that says that this group is marginalized? Because I mean, personally, that's kind of how I feel. But it's difficult for me because I do believe in free speech very strongly. So it really comes down to how do you define hate speech, and to come up with something a little more thorough in terms of how you define it. I would define it as personally, I would probably define it as anything that says this group is less than this other group, or this person is less than this other person. But not everybody would agree with me, and I'm cognizant of that and would compromise on it, but at the same time, that's what I feel was missing on here, is it's saying hate speech, and that's it. It's like, well, that makes this a lot more difficult.
I think we started Reddit. We said something a little bit about it, but then we were just kind of stuck on freedom of expression and whether or not we could or not.
How would you have felt if the shirt said heterosexual and pure?
I mean, I was offended by this shirt in
Yeah,
general.
heterosexuality
I think that
is a
I thought it
breeding.
was wrong, and it should
Is it
be
breeding?
Is a breeding, yeah, breeders.
I feel like calling it sin is not the same as like saying they're less than, because in most basic like Christian beliefs, it's everybody's sin.
So if I say you're a sinner,
I am a sinner.
you're not less than?
No, because everybody sins. That's like. The
So if I wore a
basic
t-shirt that said heterosexuals are a sin, or heterosexuality is a sin.
It is a sin, and he's just stating that. I don't think he was saying
heterosexuality?
Is a sin.
I don't think he was
That's
saying
not
that
making a statement.
less than. It's just saying that's his beliefs. And I do think his shirt was like a little over the top, and I feel like it might have not been the best way to address his beliefs. I just don't think he was. I mean, if I was coming at it that way, I don't think I'd be trying to belittle people as much as I was just stating that's what I believe, kind of thing.
I think that, like you said, you don't think that you said homosexuality is a sin. Okay, so maybe it is in your mind, but maybe in my mind it is not a sin, and I'm gay, and I don't believe that my homosexuality is a sin. I don't think that that does anybody any wrong, but then you tell me, homosexuality is a sin, then I feel like a piece of crap human being. It's just like, it's kind of like the people that stand outside of abortion clinics and they're like, you just murdered your baby, and then they go home and they kill themselves, and it's like, wow.
Well, I think that's the thing here.
This is
is
what
that-
What did she do last time? Go off, start talking about George Bush. Okay, let me say quickly, because we're running out of time. You guys, mainly what you're graded on, of course, is how you interact and how you arrive at the decision and your use of techniques, and you're engaging in cognitive conflict. And I thought that, even you guys talk about how you talked over one another. This is what we were talking about, the role of chaos in groups, and you reeled it in. So overall, I thought your group was still respectful and highly entertaining, by the way. I was very entertained by your group. Other thoughts? What thoughts on the project? Less scary than you thought it would be?
Yeah, a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is a lot more fun, isn't it? It's a lot more fun, and you get to be up there and giving presentations, but you're not having to give a speech. Speaking of which, we start on public speaking on Thursday. Our final unit together. So you'll have your quiz on small group communication. Make sure you're studying about vision and goals, and you're studying about social and task dimensions and relationships. Make sure you're studying about that. And your paper, small group paper, due when?
It says the 27th.
Yeah, it should be a week at least. Yeah.
Are you going to put these online like you did the interviews?
Yes, I've already loaded
The
two.
first one.
Wait,